So good evening to all of you. Shall we begin? Ebin, is everything okay? So then, good evening and a warm welcome to all of you. Let me introduce myself. I am Kurivila, currently at XLRI Jamshedpur, and I am heading the chair of ethics here at XLRI. I am happy that many of you have volunteered to take part in this essay competition as well as the poster design competition. So a warm welcome. I just want to introduce you to both these competitions so that you can write the essay and design the poster more effectively and constructively. You can stop me anytime during my presentation and ask for clarifications. Okay, just one question on the chat box that is regarding the certificates. All those who take part in this competition will get a participation certificate, and there will be prizes, but of course the prizes will be limited to the best essays. And we are also planning to publish some of the good articles. That also is part of the deal. For more information, you can get into the XLRI website, that is xlri.ac.in/ethics. You can also get similar information in my personal website, that is kuru.in/topics. So with this introduction, let me begin, and I'll start by sharing the screen. So this is a workshop both for essay and poster design. Let me be very clear about it. You are encouraged to take part in both these competitions, that is essay and poster competitions. But there is one particular point of view, that is you cannot use the same topic for both essay and poster. So if you are writing the essay on one topic, the same person can you design a poster, but the poster should be on another topic, both of which would be obviously connected to ethics. Okay. First thing, obviously, I want all of you to do that is elementary. Have a title and a subtitle for your essay. Not just the title, but the subtitle for the essay. Then do write your name and your designation. Designation just means you are a student of this XYZ college, that's all. Then will come later the abstract just a brief abstract. Abstract would be the summary of what you're going to do. Then a keywords, that is 5 to 6 words, which are the keywords. That is just elementary. Now, before we begin, let us see what ethics is. We are here focusing on ethics in general and on business ethics in particular. You are encouraged to write on any topics that has got connection or relation to ethics or business ethics. Basically, ethics talks about good behavior, good action. We all live in a community together with others who think differently, who act differently. Some actions are good and other actions are bad. Ethics helps us to decide what is good, what is right, and what is wrong. And there are quite many concepts which are connected with ethics. One is openness, transparency, trust, reliability, honesty, integrity. Or in other words, if you want to have the basic principles of business ethics could be like caring, respect, responsibility. You can have ethical leadership. You can have loyalty to your companions and your company or industry. Reputation, trust. These are the basic principles of ethics in general and business ethics in particular. So take any topic, and then focus only on one or two of these areas. The sign of a good essay is you are focused. You don't write too many things about too many things. Just write on a focused one or two points. Okay. Introduction. In fact, when you write an essay, you can note down the points what you will be writing in an introduction. But as such, the introduction is the last thing that you would be in fact writing. At the end, after having written the first part, second part, third part, even the conclusion and the references or bibliography, you sit back and write the introduction. So introduction is the last thing that you write, and the last but one thing you write is actually the conclusion. So in the introduction, you begin with a catchy question or quote, something that attracts the attention of the reader immediately. Then you say, why do you want to write this essay? What is the significance or relevance of this essay? Just one or two lines about your background. Why are you interested in this particular topic? If you want, you can write the limitations. And the most important thing in an introduction is the thesis statement. Thesis statement means exactly what you want to prove in an essay, you must know. An essay is not just a description of things. You don't go on describing, for example, the elephant in the room. No, here you are trying to prove your point that this action is ethically allowed or permissible. That is what you are going to prove. So keep in mind the arguments, and above everything else, keep in mind the thesis statement, the main point of your essay. This must come in the introduction. This thesis statement should also come in the conclusion, but in a different way. And throughout the essay, in the different parts, the same thesis statement can emerge in different ways that we shall see later. Has anyone got a comment or a question to make? If you have anything, just unmute and then ask. Okay, so.
Sir, can you please tell us the word limit for the thesis statement?
About 2,500 words, 2,500 words. It can be plus minus. It could be from 2,000 to 3,000. Why I kept the word limit, say 2,500 is simple, because if you want to write a publishable article, it should be of that length. Okay, we have seen the introduction, the conclusion, and now the main body of the essay. Basically, what you're going to do is you bring in one argument for one reason, argument number one. Then the next subsection would be another argument, a third argument. If you want, you can have more arguments. There could be also a counter argument, and preferably you may expose the counter arguments one or two, and then you will refute them also. And then you will have a section to prove your main point. All these arguments are with a view of proving this main thesis. Okay, this is basically the body of the essay. In the conclusion, you will have once again, after having tried to prove your point, you will summarize the main arguments but use different words, different phrases. Again, reformulate the main thesis statement. You can also suggest scope for further study, or if you have not done it in the conclusion, in the introduction, you can mention what are some of the limitations that you felt during your study, and then finally end with a question, a quote, or something catchy. It is advisable but not necessary to have some references. See, normally when you write an essay, you would be using at least a few books, a few articles, one or two books, one or two articles, or even some internet sources. Please make acknowledgement of the resources. They can be done in the reference. I don't expect you to have too many references that will be then become a scientific paper. Something like 4 to 5 references. We will see in the example, it could be something in the APS style, which is rather easy. Okay, the first thing that you have to do is choose a topic. And as I said, you can find the topics at this site. Go to kuru.in/topics. At this site, you will find all the topics. Example, the first one is ethics is mostly meaningless. Deontology is the best criterion for ethics. If you don't know what deontology is, forget about it. Take some other topic which you are at home with. Or else you come up with a particular topic which interests you personally. The only regulation is that it has to be connected to the topic in the topic of ethics. Then, if you look at the same kuru.in, the workshop details are given here that you don't need. The essay writing announcement and also the submission. So please do submit the essay in this Google form here. Also the poster, submit it in another Google form. And I know some of you may have problem with the internet. If you really have problem with the internet, then you can send an email to us. But we would be very happy if you can submit it in the Google form. But if you really cannot, after having tried, send an email to us. Okay, the first thing is choose a topic that appeals to you. And if you are writing both the essay and the poster, then take two topics. Spend some time, read about it, reflect on it, take notes randomly. And as students, what I really want you to do is, when you take notes, please, I repeat, please make sure that at least in the bracket, you know where the quotation or the notes is from. Whether it be a book, whether it be an article, whether it be a web source. Please do that. Otherwise, taking notes without acknowledging the source, that's not fair. That will end up in plagiarism. So do take notes, always acknowledge. You can also talk to your friends, talk to your seniors, get more information. See, taking notes, choosing the topic is a little kind of a loose, free association. Write down things as you feel like. Only later, after having taken enough, gathered enough materials, later you organize your thoughts. Arrange your thoughts into a particular set of arguments, counter arguments, so that you want to prove your main point, that is the thesis statement. So the main point or perspective is you have to prove or disprove a particular point. For that, you bring in one argument, a related or a separate argument number 2, argument number 3, and so on. At the end or just before the end of the essay, you must really prove the main argument, the thesis statement. Again, the first reason, each of these can have subsections, and this could be one paragraph, a second paragraph, a third paragraph. And then you know by this time, when you write a paragraph stands on its own. And normally a paragraph will be connected to another paragraph. Okay, let me just take an example. The war in Ukraine is not the answer. This is what I want to prove. First, in the introduction, which would be the last thing that I write, a quote on war, and why this essay, the relevance of this essay now, after 1 year of prolonged agony. The background, you can write something about the global geopolitical situation. Just 2 or 3 lines would be enough. Limitations, I don't have any first-hand experience. My writing and reflections would be based on, newspaper reports, and sometimes they may be biased or prejudiced. And finally, I really want to prove that whether it be a just war or an unjust war, war is not the solution, the answer. Okay, the first point I want to stress is argument number 1. War does not really solve any problem. First point, this is the first section, and in the first section, this would be the first paragraph. War follows the philosophy of might is right. But of course, we do know that might is not right. War only postpones a problem, does not solve it, unless you eliminate the whole nation. The losers keep the grudge and wait for a chance for revenge. So this, historically, when you look at the war issues, it has not solved any problem. Second argument, this would be the second subsection. Again, for convenience sake, I have divided this into 3 paragraphs. War kills only innocent victims. Many soldiers are killed, but the soldiers of both the countries, Russia and Ukraine, the soldiers are also equally innocent. They did not cause the war. It is the leaders who are the main culprits. Okay, the collateral damages, the many civilians and the innocents who are killed, and normally those who create the havoc of the war, they don't get punished. So this would be the second paragraph. Write it into one section of maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs. Given our understanding, this is the third argument, war is illogical. We have grown in our moral state of mind, and we have become, let us use the word, civilized. We claim we are not barbarians anymore. We have developed our reasoning and argumentative capacity, and therefore we can dialogue with our opponents. We can come into some kind of a mutually agreed position even before the war. Counter arguments. Is there a war of self-defense? Is there ever a just war? Normally the situation is each side will say that their war is just. Can we really wage war against evil, because war itself is part of evil? So these are the counter arguments. And then towards the end, just before the conclusion, I give sum up all these reasons and I'll say, war is not the answer. Then I bring in all these points. Each point could be made into one paragraph. War is not the answer. Peace and reconciliation, they are the answer. And in the conclusion, we have once again the main argument summarized. The thesis statement, war is not the answer, that is reformulated. Scope for further study, a apt quote or question, and then the reference. This would be the conclusion. But as I said, it is after writing the conclusion that you write the introduction. So, after having gathered the material, after having arranged in a logical order, you start writing argument number 1, 2, 3, maybe more arguments, maybe even counter arguments. Then you write the reference. And after doing all these things, you look back and write the conclusion. And then, after having gone through the whole article, write the introduction. The introduction will give the reader an overview of all that you have been doing. And this is actually the essay. The poster is the summary of the essay, but illustrated through pictures, through signs, and through some graphics. Each of these arguments, you are actually using the bullets and highlighting it. So in a poster, you don't elaborately write down your thoughts, but the main arguments are highlighted. It is argued, but then using not too much of words, but say a graphical representation. And this is a sample of the poster which I have just made. Okay, war in Ukraine is not the answer. Some photos here and there. Okay, here is the author's photo, the author's name and the designation. Introduction, a quote from Ernest Hemingway. Ukraine war, more than a year of suffering and pain. Then the same points which I used in my essay. Historically, war has not solved any of the problems. Might is not right, never. It is the same sections, but just used the bullet points and used a little bit of graphics. War is illogical, third point. Is there a just war? Finally, this is what we have been trying to say. War is not the answer, but the answer is respecting diversity, differences. And then some quotes, a few graphics from here and there. So writing a poster, you follow exactly the same method as writing an essay. But writing a poster, designing a poster is much more simple because you don't have to spend time writing. For the sake of clarity, all that I'm suggesting is use a simple PowerPoint slide. Only reduce the font size. You can actually use arrows and other indicators. And then color you can use, photos you can use, text you can use, but then in a limited sense. So writing an essay and designing a poster, both of them follow the same process reasoning methodology. After having done this, I would like you, as I told you earlier, submit the essay in this Google form and the poster submit it in another Google form. And these details you can find it in this site, kuru.in/topics. With this, I have finished the PowerPoint presentation. Do you have any questions, any comments to make? I will actually, after taking some comments and questions, I will just show you one or two model essays which my students had written 2 years ago. Before asking, you can unmute, or if you want, you can also ask the question online. Anything? Okay. I don't get any. I don't hear any quote. It is advisable. There is one question. It is advisable to have the reference also for poster. You don't need to have so many references as in an essay. See, the ideal would be for an essay have at least 5 references. For poster, have 2 to 3 references. References is always a good thing because You are acknowledging that you have borrowed ideas from there. And in both, please don't take things from the net and copy paste it. That is plagiarism. That will be very bad. And when we are writing an essay on ethics, it will be very bad to copy paste and be part of the community that plagiarizes. Use material from the net, I have no problem. But then rephrase it, rewrite it, make it in your own words, and then acknowledge the source. Even after you rephrase the ideas, do acknowledge. You only need to put it in bracket, the name of the author, the year, and the page number. If it is a book, you write the page number. If it is a web page, then you don't need to write the page number. That you will find in the next essay, model essay. So this is actually the model essay that I have given to one of my students long ago. From artificial to affective intelligence, abstract keywords would be, some related words which will summarize, so to say, the main insights of your essay. Okay, introduction, you write the introduction, and this is how you give the citation or reference in APA. Just give the surname of the author, Plato, 1973, the year the book is published, and 96. So this is the citation. And if you go to the end of the article, you should be able to see which that book is. See, in alphabetical order, Plato, 1973, Phaedrus and Letters, New York Penguin. So this is the book which has been referred to in the beginning. So you have the introduction, you have one long quote from Plato, and then you write about the artificial intelligence. This would be the story of Theus and Thamus, and this is taken from another source, Reddy. Reddy is the surname, 2016, and I hope the author has also acknowledged Reddy here. Yeah, Reddy Krishna, 2016. So Reddy is a surname. First name you write after the surname, and if it is a web source, then follow the same method. As far as possible in a website, if the author is there, do mention the author's name, followed by the date of publication, and then the article name, and finally the website, the web address. Then the sections and the subsections. This would be a section and then the subsection. But the point is, from each of these, you are going to argue your case. You are here in this essay, you're trying to show that we need to move from artificial intelligence to affective intelligence for a better tomorrow. Then we move to the sections, and finally the conclusion, ending with a quote, references, and at the end, please do write something about yourself, who you are, your email ID, and it would be nice if you can also create an ORCID ID. ORCID. You just need to go to orcid.org, give your name and details, it will be freely created, and that will be your ID forever. Here, this is the brief designation of yours, and this will give you who you are with a little more details, what you are doing, what you are studying. So this is a model essay, and if you have not got it, I have sent a copy to you. If you have not got it, send a email to me. We would be mailing this to you. The second one, which I want to share, is very similar. Collaborational coexistence with AI. This would be the title, and then you have the subtitle. Abstract, and then this would be the introduction itself. Then you have the title, sorry, the sections or the subsections, more going into the story and the different kinds of, autonomous beings, and finally the conclusion. References, and here you have actually the details about the author. Yeah, references, as I told you, use only the surname first, surname, comma, first name, and then references must be arranged in an alphabetical order. Okay. There is this one question. We have inbuilt APA formatting tool in MS Word. We can use that as well. Very well, you can use that. Actually, if you intend to use this APA on a larger scale, I would recommend the free application Zotero. That is much better than the inbuilt Word this one tool. Zotero. You need to, of course, you need to have a laptop or a desktop. You can download that Zotero, and then you can also connect it with the Chrome connector. That would be better. But then for our purpose, since we are using only 5 or 6 references, use the Microsoft Word by all means. I don't see any comments. I hope you have enjoyed it. If anyone wants these materials once again, if anyone wants the files once again, if there is any problem, just note down our email ID, JRDTF. JRDTF stands for JRD Tata Foundation. JRDTF at XLRI AC.in. JRDTF at XLRI.ac.in. Please use this email ID for your general communication. No, if you are writing the essay and the poster, then they should be of 2 topics. You cannot write the essay and the poster on the same topic, because once you write the essay, then the poster writing is a very simple thing. So if you're writing essay and if you're writing poster, you're most welcome, but they should be on two topics. Okay, all the best. See you later. Bye bye.